you like my socks? They are Hello Kitty. It's a certain character in the Hello Kitty world.
Okay. The death one?
Mm-hmm. Then I...
Death Kitty?
Yeah. Bye, Kitty.
Or Bye Kitty.
Not Hello Kitty.
Hi, welcome back to the Indie Film Hub podcast. And today we are on episode 7. And we're just moving right along. I love that. But we are in a different location. We're at a friend's studio space in Greer, South Carolina. This is Dove Light Studios. So if you guys want to check them out, go check them out. They've been kind enough to let us use this for today. This is with us, Jaden.
Hi, I'm Jaden.
Jaden is a makeup artist on a lot of our film sets. And we want to bring her on to kind of talk about getting into what it is, what about it, all those types of things for being a makeup artist. Even special effects and stuff like that. So, let's just start off with that, like getting into your field of being a makeup artist. What was your entry?
Well, I'm Jaden, again, also known as Jaden MUA Effects. I'm a professional makeup artist for film and TV industry. I specialize in prosthetic work and live casting. So,
if you guys want her socials, they'll be in the show notes, so you can check them out there.
Thank you very much. So, what got me into makeup? So we got to start really quick, like with my mom. My mom is like a big credit I give her. So she went to Joe Blasco's makeup school in California under Paramount Studios. She stopped doing makeup because she had my older brother, but she passed down her kit to me that she got from the Joe Blasco Academy, and she gave me 2. So she gave me the basic kit one, which was for beauty from the class. And then they had supplied a special makeup effects kit for her. So she just gave me both of those kits. So I had 2 to choose from. And of course, I went for the gory. I was playing in mortician's wax like when I was, 10 or something, and making these bullet hole wounds and scratches with my brother and all my siblings. So I thought that was really fun, but I feel like now I live is it vicariously?
I mean, that's what everyone does as a kid, right? Blood and gore and bullet holes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. I always ask people, I'm like, what do your kids do? And I'm just like, oh, your kids must be they're not cultured. Where's the blood and the gore, And so around, I would say 10 is when I really got interested into it. Then that got my connection mentally through movie insights behind the scenes of things. And I think one of the things is I actually was really scared of horror movies. It was obviously not for me as a young person, but I started to look up on YouTube behind the scenes of all the movies so that it lessened the fear of how things really were. So I think The Shining and The Exorcist was the first 2 movies that really scared me. But when I looked at the behind the scenes, I was able to really be oh, well, this is not real, and this is how it's done, and this is how the makeup is done. And then also with The Ring and The Grudge, me and my sister are terrified of that movie, but when we see how the makeup is being done, it just makes it more fun because it's controlled fear. And then I went straight to YouTube. That's really, I always talk about YouTube University. That's what really did it. When I saw that people would do this for fun, and even people who do this for a living, and then that's when I really got into knowledge and self-teaching and self-educating on Tom Savini and Rick Baker, and I think her name was Millicent Patrick. She was the first woman with I forgot the name off the top of my head, but who did the Creature of Black Lagoon makeup, and the 80s, 90s, I believe.
You would say
or
those
50s.
Are names people should know?
Yeah, so those are the top classic in my eyes. That's who I really took inspiration from, who were the first known to start really pushing out film with makeup and introducing the special effects on movies like Beetlejuice or Freddy Krueger or Chucky, all these things that were kind of that test back then where gore wasn't really accepted as much. I think it was more of inappropriate or not for kids during the time, or 80s or something like that. But versus today, it's one of the top tier. Yeah. But those people I would totally recommend to, as far as inspiration or people to look up to get an idea of what they did as well. And their stories are also very inspiring, just what they had to do with little resources they had back then, like in the old ages. I mean, I'm a 2000s baby. Not to just like drag everyone, but I'm a 2000s baby. So
like 50 years
I
ago,
am
the old ages or
100 years ago. But yeah, that is one of the people of that whole, I mean, I can name so much more as far as like books and TVs, stuff like that. Yeah.
What was like actually getting into the industry versus like there was building your interest, but like actually getting into the industry, getting actual training, and doing all that stuff?
My first gig was the Isolation series by Isaac Stoll.
Yeah.
That was a zombie makeup. So it was my first gig.
You just saw it on Facebook or something?
I actually got recommended by another makeup artist. Shout out Michaela Beckett, because gotta give where credit's due, because that would have not happened. She seriously was like the only one that I connected with through there to get to that part. But yeah, she forwarded me and I hopped on and I got with Isaac, and it kind of just started from there. Just kind of an experience and doing it and getting like the taste of it. I kind of didn't expect much out of it. I was more of like, okay, well, this is like, I'm doing makeup, like a gig. Yeah. But that's when the first time I really understood what like a set is really about and what a production is, and like the more,
all the moving pieces.
Just the whole formula of that and the professionalism that is carried with that.
Do you feel ever like you're often like the only hair makeup person on set? Sometimes there's a hair person with you, or maybe you're working with wardrobes, art department or something, but there's a lot of times you're kind of solo and you're just kind of hanging out by yourself. Does it feel lonely doing this job, or
it's lonely roads? It can feel quite
lonely roads. I love it.
Yeah. It can feel quite lonely. I mean, it's great so it's like a double-edged sword. It's great to be solo because you take the challenge on and it just sharpens your craft. But on the other end of it, you really do need more hands-on for things when it's you versus time. And that is like moments like that. I'm just like, oh, I wish I had like a whole team. But essentially, it's what going through the whole experiences and meeting people on the way to build that. So when I first was on Isaac's, he had kind of scouted out and separated makeup artists for each day of work. But when I did it more, he would eventually kind of migrate all of us in one. So there was rotation and everyone was hands-on. But I will say, when I work with another makeup artist and have an assistant, it is way more like funner and better. So of course I always would want someone on board rather than working alone.
What were some of like the first things you learned being on a set?
Wow. Okay, so I will
just
say
general practices that you
one,
even keep on today.
Number one is just keeping your professionalism and composure. That is definitely me, like professionalism, 1000%. And just thinking about what your next move is going to be, how you can execute something. And even if it's hard, that's the number one thing. Like, they might ask you something that it's like, well, I can't do that or whatever. And just saying yes, like, let's do it. And just finding a way is really the only thing I think of. I try not to say no, but just honestly going for it. Like, not even really thinking about it, like in a good way.
What's like the first things you got for your kit, like when you were starting to build out? What was?
Oh my gosh.
Is it from like what your mom gave you, or is it?
Somewhat. I mean, if I kept what she gave me, it would be expired by now. But working off of that as like having a foundation, I would say, well, other than like blood and liquid latex, like for your special effects side, things for prep, whether you're doing on-camera work or the special effects. So like your skincare, your cleaning products, your things for like hygienic purposes, all like a whole palette of just primary colors, secondary colors, and foundations, so that you could work with anyone, any complexion, any texture. And your shadow bases for your contours and your highlight. That's kind of, I would say, a good beginner. Kind of think of it as like face painting, like when you get like a little face painting kit like to play with. Those are like, they give you like only like 3 or 6 shades because you make your own. which is good. When you're limited with shades, you are kind of forced to make your own colors, which is good because that expands like your color palette.
Yeah. Understanding how things work together
and color theory.
Color theory, yeah.
Yes.
And color theory is important for just the way things are being lit, skin tones.
Yeah.
All kinds
absolutely.
of lighting.
Right, yeah.
And so you like to know those things as much in pre-production as possible.
Right, absolutely.
To prep.
Yeah. So communicating with other departments like lighting and camera is really big with pre-production. And I use this analogy when we were on the Sugar Hill panel. When someone puts like a green lens, or let's just say put a green gel lens on the camera, it's going to cancel any red that's on talent. So if I did red lipstick, it's gone when we roll. So those things are really important, especially with like when we use blood, like what kind of filters are they thinking of putting on in post or something like that, or their version of color grading, because that can make everything wonky. So it is, it's very important. And then also I would say that's really important with wardrobe. So we all work together. All departments, we align and we work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of communication, pre-production.
Right.
We had you on our production. We tried to keep you informed as best we could, but there are a lot of moving pieces. Do you feel like we communicated well? That's just
okay. I think we communicated enough. Like I think it was good where we both were. It was good where we both were. I mean, if the communication wasn't there, I probably wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
I would have been
something
lost.
We did get to do was a test run for some of the makeup, and you got to actually do some hair prosthetics.
Right.
Is that what
So we did we worked with crepe hair with David at Cargo. Yeah, we did the crepe hair, applying that. Yeah. Since it's like the opposite of punching, because you can't punch. Punching is just with a needle, just like putting each hair for like a silicone piece or something. Yeah. But I was just really applying crepe loosely. So it's like freestyle beard that I did. Yeah. Which is fun. It's super time consuming. But I'm glad that we had the makeup test, because I was able to get understanding of David's features and texture and how much hair he already had and the placement I had to work with.
And time.
Right, and time. That was a huge thing. And comparing all of that while having Miguel as our double and like muse and like double for each other kind of thing. So when we actually went on set, I wouldn't say it was like life-changing, but it was a lot easier because we had the consultation. So
and
I'm glad we had it.
Yeah, as the producer for that, we knew, like when we had a day when we had both that needed to go through makeup, we knew how to stagger them for coming in and their shots and how to line that up, because we knew they had 30 or 40 minutes of makeup before they could get on set. So, so it was helpful for sure. Going back a little bit to kind of building out your kit. What are some of the resources you use to get those pieces? Like where can someone go to find a starter kit or whatever?
Well, I would definitely recommend like a lot of brand things, example like Mayron. Well, the reason how I know these brands is from the Halloween store. So I just essentially sourced it out basically from there. And then I was like, okay, well, if I found Rubies, then I found Mayron. If I found Mayron, then I found blank. Because they all have their own little networking of brands too. So finding like, there's already made kits like you can even find like on Amazon for like straight beginner. You can also play with makeup you already have. So some people already have just like a basic lipstick makeup palette or something for beauty. Things you can find like CVS, Walmart, or Sephora. And I've seen people make Blood and Wounds straight out of mascara and lipstick, or foods too. People do things out of flour, like prosthetics out of gelatin, stuff like that. So I think any type of makeup kit for a beginner is so DIY. I feel like you can use anything as long as it's safe and non-allergenic or something.
So that's something you need from the actors, though, is their allergy.
Right.
Yeah.
Allergies.
Knowing what you can and can't use. So it's really important to know like what's in your products as well.
Yes, absolutely. When I went to the esthetician program at Greenville Tech in 2022, we had a theory section where we understood consultation forms and consultating with your clients and things like that, and charts and keeping out, allergy charts and stuff like that. That helped me a lot with learning what ingredients was in prep and all the products I use, even cleaning products, how you clean your tools, how that can affect, longevity and future use of that. So that's also really important. So yes, it's great to have your kit pretty much with anything when you're practicing on yourself, but when you actually execute it in a professional manner, it's really important that you can't just put anything on anybody. So I feel like the process of starting makeup and consultations could be quite lengthy, because I care about the safety. I'd say most MUAs would care about the safety of your client, because of course you're not only just liability, but having an expired product or something, it will show like the quality of your products.
I was just thinking about this when you were talking, but you also need to know what's happening in the shot as far as like if they're sweating, if they're running, moving around, if there's water, or if there's any other interactions that where they're hugging and it might smear on someone's costume, and we don't want that.
Yeah, climate, mobility, all of that is also huge factor in makeup. So on the prosthetic side, I definitely need to know.
Yeah, you do prosthetics too.
Yes, I do prosthetics. Also, I do prosthetics. With prosthetics, it's really important to know the mobility. If they're laughing, if they're crying, if they're going to be in heat, like outside all day, or if it's going to be rainy, if they're going to do like a rain rig or a blood rig, whatever. That's really important, because then that tells me, do I need to, use a double adhesive? Do I need to use waterproof products? Or, totally depends. It adds on like what I need to do more and have on standby.
You don't have a beginner kit anymore. You've really built it up. So like, what do you have in your kit? What's like always have in your kit? What's specialty items, or making sure that the actor is comfortable as well? Like, what's in your kit today?
My makeup kits have matured.
Yeah.
I have 2 kits. I have one, which is the makeup kit. I have 2. The second one, which is the basic touch-ups for hair. So the main golden one, all the makeup, that's going to have all my basic complexions of all the shade ranges for everyone. Then I have my basic palettes for my colorful, like secondary, primary. So I can use it for anything, whether it's the regular beauty or the special effects. I have my adhesives, my prep, all, my brushes. So my tools are very important. So it's going to be like your tweezers, your scissors, all that stuff. Then I have things that you wouldn't even think I had, like fishing wire for line work. I have that. I had to make like a fake spit. So I have like this Vaseline mixture with like this aloe vera. I have like some ingredients like that on me. But that's like, I would say, what's really in there. So when it comes to out of kit products, like your actual prosthetics, I just make sure I have those on hand, and the alcohols for that need to apply, like the acetone. So I have like a lot of nail products I have to keep on me to apply that stuff. Yeah.
You're saying some things that are a little over my head, because I don't know all the makeup world.
Oh.
The only makeup I did was like in theater in middle school or something. I had that little kit that had like the basic stuff. I did learn highlights and shadows or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Thanks for your highlights, your shadows, your contours.
But I didn't know much, so I mean, these are genuine questions that I'm learning from too, so I love it. What's some of the strangest stuff you've had to like? Do you like the strange stuff though?
Yeah.
But what is some of those things you've done?
Like, what's your definition of strange?
Well, I mean, the only one I can think of is you had to shave someone's body.
Yes, I had to shave someone's body.
Or if you had to do like a full like face cast of something, or.
Right. You know what? I feel like I haven't yet experienced the strangest thing or the most like out of pocket thing yet, as far as like makeup, like, whoa, I haven't even learned this, but I have to do this. I would say the beard on Chloe Lee was definitely crazy. The shaving I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I had to shave and groom like neck. With Adam on the GE. But I was like, oh, wow, like, I'm not going to do this again. Like, I don't really specialize in hair that much. And then I shaved 2 bodies. So that was well, I guess 1.5 in a sense. So that was I would say that was one of the strangest. I'm trying to think of another one because I do have plenty. I have a funny story. I don't know if you want to hear it or not. It was with ATI physical therapy. It was
Sure.
Okay, I'll tell you really quick. Okay. So I got asked to do hair and makeup for the ATI physical therapy commercial, and I didn't really have knowledge. I knew it was physical therapy facility, but I didn't have knowledge much of who was being interviewed. I thought they were like talent, like fake interview. You know, sometimes commercials are hyped up and not real stories. And I didn't know it was real stories. So my theater mindset, which I haven't even been in theater, but for some reason I had a theater mindset. I told one of the ladies to go break a leg, like as in a good luck analogy. And then she went to do her interview and she was talking about how she really broke her leg. And it's just like this woman, this frail woman that was just there to talk about her life-changing story, and I told her that, and I didn't know that it was real stories.
Well, there's no way you could have known, but yeah, that's
So
foot and
that's
mouth.
what happened. I wrapped up.
So you are MUA,
Yes.
but do you consider yourself an HMU? And what is the difference there? Like, why is there a distinction or?
So I consider myself both because I've been called for both, especially, so HMU, hair, makeup, that's going to be your combo, someone who knows both. However, I don't specialize in hair. I am not like a full licensed cosmetologist, only licensed esthetician, so that gives me the ability to service the craft of makeup and skincare, but not for hair. I know basic hair touch-ups and product use because I did work alongside hairstylists in the same school, but I don't know like the braiding techniques or certain periods of hair, like eras and types of styles. So I always during inquire consultation, let the like event manager or producer know that, oh, I just know like basic, like if you want me to brush your hair, I will. But usually that's different already, and when you apply, whether you're applying for key hairstylist or key makeup artist. But every time I did hair and makeup, I wasn't asked to do something crazy in hair. So I do specialize and call myself just makeup artistry, is what I do. And I'll always recommend, though, a good key hairstylist if they need one. I can't do certain things.
Makeup's not always on the face. Everyone thinks face, but it's not always
right
there. What are some other, anywhere on the body, really, covering up
right.
tattoos,
yeah,
creating freckles on the hands.
Any type of canvas on a torso or a body or something like that. So tattoo coverage, scar coverage. I've also done scar enhancement as well for a character. So even just simple things, if it's not even a crazy storyline, just as covering a freckle or cleaning nails or plucking someone's hair out their ear or something like that, I've definitely attended to it. Yeah.
It's not always a pretty thing.
No, but
it is in the end, I guess.
Yeah, I feel I bond with the person more. You know, we walk away like, you know what? At the end of the day, I shaved their back. We're closer now through my kit.
Yeah. What are some just general tips and tricks that you've learned over the years?
Of course, equipment is really important. Your lighting, your seating, your table, anything, because it's a very stationary job. So things that you're accessible in your own little nook, even a trash can, and
What about makeup removal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do so many people forget that?
Yes. Yeah. I was one of those people.
Yeah.
We were eating, and I almost let David go home with a beard on. So I was calling him, no, come back. So removal is, I would say, even more important than application. So the way that you prep for your makeup is going to determine how long it takes and how safe your removal will be with everything. So I basically have to think of the finishing thing while starting something. So it can be very like, you have to tap into like both sides of the brain with that. And then also keeping time. You have to communicate time when near wrap for people to have the removal process and things like that. It can get hectic because, you know, you got your prosthetics. People, you know, I'll put teeth in, like dentures. We'll have nails on. There's a lot that you forget about. Like on Someone Sinister, I almost had Carla, who plays the mom in Someone Sinister. She almost walked out with the horns that I made, and she forgot they were on. I forgot they were on, so we almost walked out with that. But even though you're at the end and you're tired and you want to go home, you know, it's another thing you have to think about, like, oh no, I have to stay now for the removal.
There was one that we had, you were all packed up
Mm-hmm.
and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to break everything back open to do a makeup change. Or was it removal? But that was
Was that C'est La Vie?
Yeah.
It was C'est La Vie. I remember that distinctively. I do. I packed everything up. I was ready to go. I was like...
It was late. It was a 48-hour
late.
festival,
Yes.
so we were like all on hour 17
Yes.
and tired. So.
I packed everything, and then, oh my gosh, okay, yes. Adam came in and said, I need you to, something with a bald cap, and I totally forgot that I had to do it. And he came in, and then also doing something for like blood. But yeah, I remember that. It was great. I mean, it paid off well because I love it. It was like my wallpaper for like a month. It looked so beautiful. I love the outcome of that.
That was a fun project.
But yeah, I remember, I think you came in, or like Tara came in and was like, oh yeah, you forgot one more person. So, but the way I have my kit assembled, I can open it in and out. So I do keep that in mind for those emergency last moments.
You also have a kit on you when you're on set for touch-ups.
Right.
What's part of that kit?
Yeah, so I do have like a little, like a waist kit, I call it, like a nurse pack. That's gonna have my disposables, so all my applicators, my basic powders, like the most base products that I find will need more touch-ups, like the last topical products, so like your blushes and lip. Especially when they're talking, they're gonna eat all of that lip gloss and like lipstick and that off. So I always have to bring that, or if they start creasing, or even adhesives for like their eyelashes that might fall off, or something like that. If it gets too hot and too sweaty, like corners might detach. Scissors, business cards, snacks. Sneak in a Ritz cracker.
Yes,
in there.
always have snacks on hand too.
Yeah. But yeah, for the talent though, I make sure I bring the basics. Like I'm not gonna bring my whole kit, but I'll definitely bring a hairspray or a brush just in case that wind likes to go against me. I have to swoop the other half to the side.
Yeah, do you got any last minute notes?
Yeah, let me ask you, what do you expect from a makeup artist, like when you're working with them?
So as a producer, I feel like we kind of hit some of those things of what I would be asking for. It's like, I want to make sure that, you know, are you communicated with? What do you need to know about the characters and the script? You definitely need the script to work off of as soon as possible. You need to know like pictures, if you can have that. So just like, I would have asked all those things. And I know like after working with you now, like I need to have those prepped and ready to go for makeup artists to work with in the future, because I have learned a lot in trying to coordinate that in some way about what they need to know. Yeah. Because usually just like, oh, you'll do makeup, you'll show up, you'll do the makeup, and that's
right.
It.
I think
like that's not.
I think there's a lot of which is it's okay.
And you'll have all your own stuff.
Right.
But there are some things that production needs to get, which are the disposables, those wipes and sponges and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can understand from a production's perspective for, I think anyone, any job and any role, of course, show up and, you know, have your things together and have all the proper equipment that they can't supply. But on my end, I do have the expectations of, you know, where will I be performing, you know, having proper lighting, electric, water. It's important to always share a pre-production, pitch decks, scripts, I do want to say, and hopefully it's been getting way better as I jump on more productions. But I feel like so far, me personally, I haven't had a lot of hair and makeup breakdown call sheets. Like we all share the call sheet and a shot list, but I feel like there needs to be one with hair and makeup. So instead of like expecting it, I feel like I should just start making one for myself and then like just going along with the director off of that. Like we both work on one. Because I think when we take too much time trying to figure out, well, what's next or what we could do, it just really eats up time on set. Just asking questions of how things should go. And of course, not everything is perfect and everything's subject to change. But I will say hair and makeup shot lists are very important. And I would like to see that more in the industry as far as like in the upstate. Because it could be hard just going off of, you know, maybe Grit might understand the shot list, but I might not in a, you know, makeup artistry perspective.
Understanding what the director is trying to come up with. And,
exactly.
Because you're not on set with them necessarily to hear that, or in pre-production, makeup artists and some of those people kind of get forgotten about.
Right. And I feel bad because, well, it's great to always have a PA with you. Like they always have their designated locations to transfer and communicate questions. But sometimes like the PA is not going to know makeup, and I never expect them to. And I don't like to put pressure on PAs, even though some PAs are totally down for all the work. I try to make sure it's easy for everyone. So I think it's something I'm going to start introducing slowly in my business realm is like hair and makeup shot lists. I think I'm sure that's probably, you know, not new in other places, but I just personally don't see that a lot here.
You got any tips for actors? How they should take care of their skin and be prepared, or what they should expect going into hair and makeup? Or
right. So I think where my esthetician is going to come out in this question, but I know that with affordability, it can get kind of shaky when it comes to how prep can we get. Example weddings, I'll just give that because I feel like wedding prep is extremely important, and I see the two-sided mirror and coin with how it is in film. Having great clean skin, people with peach fuzz, men or women, if you get that like kept, you know, hairs like waxing and if you're with a key makeup artist and hair, communicating with them how hair should be done if we're doing wig installments, stuff like that. But you know, I've worked on talent who has acne and who have more of a history of certain skin conditions or skin disorders, and I won't have too much history of that off the hand because I just meet them. And so what I do is when I get the headshots during pitch deck and things like that, I like to reach out to the talent personally and then just ask them, you know, what are things I should know other than allergies, so I can make sure and work around skin conditions. So that I can also pass that down to the director. Because sometimes productions can assume that talents could wear anything, but sometimes people can't. Example, we couldn't do contacts for All That Is Evil, even though that would have stepped the game up for the monster and the witch and the look, but she just had eye surgery. So it's just one of those things. It's good to always reach out prior.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to reach out, especially for dentures, people who have veneers and have like any dentistry work. That's also super important with doing that as well. So you have to just think about those.
You have to get really
things.
personal with these.
Yeah, I will always say this, it's a very intimate job. Yeah. Very, very intimate. Like as far as proximity of you working, but literally knowing them like head to toe, like externally and maybe internally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
why I always say I just
professionalism, like you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's really big. I'm huge, like it's really big to be professional about it because you are super intimate.
Do you ask permission to touch them?
I definitely do, yes. You know, I try my best to not only ask for permission for certain things or asking them if it's okay, if, if pressure of application is okay, if they're comfortable, if it's okay to take a photo. Sometimes I could forget because there's so much going on.
You just brought up good points. Good to take photos for one to share,
right?
But also for continuity. Sorry to change the subject.
No, you're good. No, that's like a really good question. So taking photos for continuity is also really important. Before and after is also really important, and I do like to get one with the fresh makeup on, and I do like to get one right before I take it off, so I could see the kind of time lapse of the wear of the makeup to see what I could change differently, and if things fell off or things creased or blush went away. So it's just something I can know better, and that also factors and roots through the climate we were in and where we were. There's definitely a lot of studying and homework you have to do. So when you wrap, it's not just go home, go to bed. You have to really kind of conclude and do an overview of your work, even if that is the last day production and you don't ever have to do it again. It's just really important because it's for your future portfolio too.
Yeah. Is there anything that you do every single time on set? Is it like, do you apply the same makeup every time for the looks or is something like that's majority of it, like
right? I do definitely have like a routine that I rely on, which is just the prep, especially the prep. Then I start with their base. If I'm not doing crazy eye makeup, then I'll just start with your base first, and then you just build up from there, and blemish coverage. And I always, if the hair's not done, I'll probably do hair first. But it really just depends what's needed first. Like if hair is not that crazy, then we'll start with makeup because that's what's more called for if they're like first, on set or something. But yeah, I usually have the same routine, especially for just basic on camera. But when it's like prosthetic application, that is like whole different world. I need a crazy prep for that.
For like our smaller productions, or even just for an interview, is there anything like I should have just as a videographer, maybe two people on, there's no makeup artist on set. Is there anything I should have in my kit, even like setting powder just for shine or something like that?
Yes, setting powder. Yeah. Things for hair, I would say like hair ties, a brush, like a cheap brush or something you could throw away after. Yeah. I would say sweat-proof little cleansing towelettes. So they're just like astringent towelettes. So it just absorbs any oil. It's like basic things like that. I would say some skincare, sunscreen, Vaseline for lips.
I do have sunscreen. Yeah.
Just, things like that. People look a little bit dried out or too oily. Just whatever's the opposite of that.
Some
product.
lotion maybe.
Some lotion. I've had.
Is there what's a good lotion?
For like face or for body?
I'm a guy, so it's all the same.
Okay, so for face, a good skincare is La Roche-Posay. And that is just like a triple moisturizer, very hydrating, has good for the barrier of your skin, locks in long wear moisturizer. It's not greasy either. You can get one with SPF. For body, I would recommend any shea butter bases or like almond or something like that, but you gotta make sure they're not allergic to those oils or essential oil extracts. And if you want something plain, I just stick with CeraVe. Yeah.
Cool.
Or baby lotion. Baby lotion also.
Yeah. What? Do you want to share your handles?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jaden MUA Effects, as well as Facebook, just at Jaden Gutierrez.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And talk about all that stuff. If you guys have any questions for her or for me, you can email us at hello.indiefilmhub@gmail.com. You can also go to the website, indiefilmhub.org. And I think you can comment on Spotify or Apple Podcasts where you can find us as well. I'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Well, you want to know something bad?
Huh?
You want to know something bad?
Oh, no. Did your camera die?
Battery exhausted.
So...
It's all on here. We have the podcast. I just don't have the video.
Are we still rolling on here?
Yes.
Hi. What's up, dude? It's me, Jaden.